Knicks family, what's poppin' is your boy, man. Sorry I'm running a little bit late, but hey, we here now. We just gonna talk Knicks, whatever we gotta talk about. I don't know how much there is to talk about. I don't even have any topics lined up, but we just gonna talk it. We just gonna talk that talk. Whatever comes up, we're gonna talk about it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna stay away from all the stuff that's happening outside of basketball. You know, we're not gonna bring it here right now. We're just gonna talk New York Knicks. The only thing I will say about it, about stuff happening outside of basketball, is last night I was doing a show on the front stoop. And of course, we were talking about some real issues. And somebody calls up from Minneapolis. And I thought he was going to have something to say. And he starts talking about, yeah, Mark Jackson is the dude. He'll put seats in the, he'll put fans in the seat. Free agents and want to come here. I was like, bro, we're not on NBK right now. We're not talking about the Knicks. We're talking about some serious issues, not the New York Knicks. I had to hung up on my man. You know what I'm saying? He called back multiple times, but I didn't pick up. I figured he was going to try. I think that was Marty Knicks, though, because Marty Knicks is from Minnesota. I think it was Marty Knicks. I really do. And I don't think Marty Knicks is in the chat right now, but I think it was Marty Knicks. I mean, let me get these guys over here, man. We got Kev and we got Freezy. We got Guillermo. You know what I mean? Kev, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling? And hold up for 1 minute, because I got a little bit of a... You're talking about technical difficulties. I got a technical difficulty going on right now. Happens every time. There we go. All right, we good.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Kev. What'd you say?
No, I was just saying it's good to be back on. I definitely missed a lot of the talks y'all were having, the discussions. I really would have loved to have been on those discussions. Just glad to be back on, and just trying to keep safe. That's pretty much it. About to celebrate being married for 21 years tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, that's what's up, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Congratulations. That's not an easy task.
No, sir. It's not. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work.
Takes a lot of work. Takes a lot of work, man. I've been married for, it'll be 19 years in December.
Okay.
Takes work,
all
brother.
Right.
Takes work.
Does.
Takes work. Takes a lot of work, commitment, sacrifice, all of that.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. But like I said, I'm just glad to be back on. I miss my fellas.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. So what's going on in the world of the Knicks right now? I don't think there's anything going on that we haven't discussed already.
They're trying to push Thibodeau, man. You see the reports, bro. All these reports, I don't know what in he has, but when you see all these reports where the Knicks are getting close, and I've seen it in different iterations where it's like the Knicks are getting close, there are rumors of that means that the media has a favorite that they're trying to push. And it's New York media. Everyone's bored because nothing's really happening right now in the world of basketball. But, that's, I guess, how the cookie crumbles. But, yeah, other than that, I don't really see much in terms of basketball. Oh, yeah, besides I'm trying to rush the season back just so LeBron can win a cheap ring. But other than that, I don't really see much.
Not much.
They opened the facility back up. They opened the facility, the New York, the training facility. They opened back up today.
Right. It opened up today.
Yes.
Right. And one last thing I see in some shows, it's hilarious how I've seen some people criticize, like, just because they broke it down. This might be outside the realm of basketball, but outside the realm of the Knicks. But I think people criticize Jordan so much because of the whole, what's the name? And I'm just like, dude, if we could have a player like that on the Knicks, I mean, I would. If you could just give us one championship, I think I'd be good for my life to have a hero like Jordan. I just don't understand how Jordan could be demonized. I've seen people say, oh, he criticized, he said he was better than Clyde Drexler. Well, he didn't really say he was better, but he said that he was offended that people comparing him, and that's in his head. I want every Knick player to think that every person that they're lower than, that they got drafted after, that they feel slighted by that. I want everybody to have that feeling. I want us to get back to that feeling where we don't like nobody. I want us to be nasty like the old Knicks were in terms of we're not friends with nobody. I don't want to see Emmanuel Mudiay getting jerseys from Dwayne Wade after getting beat by 50. And not getting a jersey and begging for
it. Exactly. When did you ever see that during that Ewing that whole Ewing and even Allen Houston, Latrell Sprewell
and on the court. I'm not talking about off the court. They're off the court friends. Who cares them?
Right.
I'm talking about on the court. When you lose by 30, this is why I respect RJ Barrett. I want it so that every player from Mitchell Robinson, who I think is starting to build up his confidence in terms of being able to speak to the media, being personable, all that stuff. I want all these guys to be like, yo, it's us against the world. You know, screw the New York media. They don't like us. Screw anybody that's not on this team or within this building because we don't rock with them. And I think that hopefully RJ Barrett, he said, and I'm happy that he liked the Jordan documentary. I hope he takes that. Like, he has that burning desire to be like, yo, this is not a game. Yo, we go to a club anytime we want and get as many Instagram girls as we want. But when we're on this court, bro, we got to give it our all. We got to get a chip, because if the Knicks get a chip, you are gods. You will be praised. So,
hey, Guillermo, I got something for you. I'm gonna say this. This is a bold take, but this is how I honestly feel. I feel like if the Knicks are able to obtain LaMelo Ball, I think we're a second round playoff team. And the reason why I say that is because we have all the requisite pieces in place to build a championship contender. The only thing we're missing is a playmaker that can get us consistently get our scorers open looks. So we have potentially three lockdown defenders, and Mitchell Robinson, Mo Harkless, and Frank Ntilikina, right? So we potentially have a go-to scorer in the clutch, like a basket getter in the clutch with RJ Barrett. If we get LaMelo Ball, now you can take the pressure off of Frank Ntilikina and Dennis Smith Jr., I feel like Dennis Smith Jr. Has been slighted all year. The dude he's a 14-point a game scorer in his first 2 seasons. He gets traded to the Knicks. He in his 3rd season. They change head coaches. He has an injury. He has a tragedy. So he has a setback where he scores 5 points a game. But the 2 seasons prior, he averaged 14 points a game and could get buckets at the basket anytime he wanted to. We were last year and the year before, we said the only thing we were saying about Dennis Smith Jr. is he's not a consistent outside shooter and he needs to work on his defense, is what we used to say. And now we're calling, people are down on him like he's a bust. Also, two NBA scouts said that they saw Kevin Knox improve this year in the second half of the season, and his defense went from god awful to average. So with the arrow pointing up, if he continues to take steps, he'll probably be an above average NBA defender, because all he needs is to improve on is his court awareness, like body positioning and small things like that. They said, the scouts also said his scoring went down because they noticed a true emphasis on him looking to be a defensive player, because he may have felt like his shot could come easy. So if he finds a balance there, then that pick that we used to take Kevin Knox is actually worth something. Not to mention that we have 2 raw kids that played in the G League, well, 3 raw kids that played in the G League last year, and Lamar Peters, Brazdeikis, and Kenny Wooten. And the thing about Kenny Wooten is he'll probably never be an NBA starter, you know what I'm saying, because his offensive game is probably more raw than Frank Ntilikina. But in situational, he could be our Herb Williams type, be here for a long time, doing certain things like calling out defensive rotations, rebounding the basketball, and rim protecting. So if you take into account what we already have, you add a LaMelo Ball, and then say at 27, if you're able to maneuver and get like the Sadiq Bey kid, who's going to probably like a Shane Battier type, and in the second round, get you a big man to back up Mitch. Now you're talking about a solid young core with the potential to, get into the first round. but and when I say a second round team, I mean get past the first round. I don't mean beat a team in the second round and advance to the finals. Right. I'm not calling that. I'm just saying if we get to a 3-6 or a 4-5, I think we have the potential to beat a team.
I don't know, Freezy. I don't know, man. I don't know who got motorcycles running around, but I don't know, man. I think that it's going to take some more roster reconstruction. You get LaMelo Ball. It's going to take some more roster reconstruction. You got to find out what the coach is going to be doing with the players. It's going to take some time for that team to, whatever team is there next year, it's going to take some time for the team to gel together. It's hard for me to see. Maybe could it be possible that they snip the first round or the 8th seed? No. Maybe. I just can't see the second round yet. I think that they would need to. They're gonna have to gel. They're gonna have to figure out how to play together.
Can I say something real quick on Dennis Smith Jr. real quick? So Dennis Smith Jr., don't let those stats that he had in the beginning of the season or his career fool you, right? He was obviously on the Mavericks team where his usage rate was a lot higher, right? So on the Mavericks, his first year, his usage rate was 28%. Then it went down to 22.7%. He goes to Knicks last year, last year, and it was total. Oh no, for the Knicks it was 26.4%. So that last year total between the Knicks and Mavericks 24.2%, and then the usage rate dipped down to 22.3%. And his stats have been not so good. So his 3-point percentage went at the highest in the second year from 34% all the way down to 29.6%. Now, obviously, at the injury and the back issue, his points also went down, obviously. But with Dennis Smith Jr., when I watch him, he needs a lot of his athleticism, right? He's a point guard shooting guard is kind of masquerades as a point guard who can't shoot. His main thing is to get to the bucket. So when people say you get to the bucket at any time, obviously when you're a rookie, people don't really have the book on you, right? But what they have done with Dennis Smith Jr., which has been effective, is give him space to shoot, which he cannot do, right? And if he cannot get to the basket, and he's not a plus defender, he's not.
He don't make him any better
because he can't shoot off ball. He can't shoot, period. But he's not doing anything off ball. You are giving a lot of uses to a guy who, even if you look at his field goal efficiency, his high has been at 44% his second year. A guy who needs a ball a lot who's not terribly efficient and who's limited offensively. That's not an answer, especially at point guard, where when you have a point guard, he's usually the most dynamic thinking-wise on a team. He's setting up guys. He's pushing the ball around. In traditionally, in theory, even on offense, the Warriors, you have Draymond Green. Stephen Curry is still the guy who, in many facets of the game, is pushing the ball, is moving, is pushing the system. Now, obviously, the ball moves in different hands. Draymond Green, Clay, all those guys can bring it up. KD was there, but this kid, Dennis Smith Jr., to me, he has to deconstruct his game, bro. Because if you can't shoot, if you're playing as his best position will probably be. Or his best asset role will be combo guard, right? A guy who comes off the bench, gives you 30 minutes, can shoot, can score in bunches, and can be that second unit savior. And he can't do that if you cannot shoot and your only way to the basket is through your athleticism. Again, he's just a limited player. I'm not issuing on him, but I just don't see it. And lastly, I know we got to get to other people, but LaMelo Ball, that's very wishful thinking. LaMelo Ball, to me, again, like I said, his efficiency was not high in a league that's, lower tier than some of the top leagues in Europe. You know what I mean? He went to NBL, and people say, oh, well, he had to kind of carry the team. But, if you're talking about a kid who's that supposed that he's going to take a Knicks team that's been in the doldrums for years to a second rounder with teams like the Bucks, the Heat, some of these teams that on the East, or Toronto, you're talking about a second round team. I'm just not sure that LaMelo is there. Now, if LaMelo was having that high usage rate and he was shooting close to 50% from the field and maybe even high 30s from three, I would be like, maybe, because you could see it. You know what I mean? If you talk about, say, like a Ja Morant, when you saw Murray State, is like, all right, Ja Morant is the type of dude that he could take a bad team to the first round. But I understand. I understand where you're coming from. But here's the thing that you don't account for. First of all, our center, right, our backup center, Mitchell Robinson, led the NBA in field goal percentage. The dude shot like 77% from the field with Alfred Payton, right? And also
R.J. Barrett in his last 20 games coming off his ankle injury and post All-Star break averaged 17 points a game on 48% from the floor shooting,
right?
I think it's 33% from three and 61% from the free throw line, which are all numbers that increased after his ankle injury and All-Star break. Now, if you just take into account them progressing in their second year, or this will be Mitch's third year, you have to look at the steps that these guys take. Their progress is not going to be linear. Like, their stats are not going to be the same from year to year. You hope these dudes will continue to improve, where R.J. Barrett would be something like an 18-point game scorer.
And Gilmore, I have to ask you this question. Again, I have to ask you this question. From what I'm hearing, are you high? You're not high on LaMelo Ball at all? Because if you're not,
no, it's not that I'm not high on him. I just want us to have proper context, because again, this draft is extremely weak. So when we're looking at some of these guys, we're going to overrate these guys and give them a premium when we look at them in isolation. But when you look at other drafts, right? And obviously other guys have been drafted. So they're not going to be drafted anymore. Those guys have been drafted in the past. But you look at a guy like Melo Ball, right? What I don't want the Knicks to do is to go for a name that's hot or that's slightly overrated just because it's a weak draft, versus we miss out on, say, a Giannis. And yes, Giannis grew, 4 or 5 or whatever when he got to the NBA. But I'd rather us take, if our scouting department is saying, hey, take this guy who's, say, a Donovan Mitchell, say a guy like Kara Lewis. Our scouts say, yo, Kara Lewis is a guy to take now. Say we get the number 3 draft pick. People might be saying, oh, get Obi Toppins, get the big dude from Memphis, Wiseman. But, the crowd might be saying that, but advanced scouts would be like, yo, Kara Lewis, bro, if someone takes him after Edwards and LaMelo, like, that's that dude, man. Like, he is legit good. It's just that he, at Alabama, maybe he wasn't able to showcase certain skills. He was asked to do certain things. If that's the guy that we have to take care of Lewis, I'd rather us take that versus you go with the name that everybody says.
Right.
Is this and that. And I don't want us to miss out. Like, the whole Frank thing, honestly, as much as I like Frank as a developer, I would take Donovan Mitchell in a.
Oh, of course.
And we
of course.
Right, we had scouts that wanted him, but we went with Dennis. We went with what Phil Jackson went with, even though we had scouts that were like, yo, take Donovan Mitchell. This is that guy. You know what I mean? So I just don't want us to make the mistake drafting because we overrate a guy because of the noise. And many teams do that. We're not immune to that.
Hey, Kevin, let me get to a phone call. See if we have, a question or something to spark some more convo. Then we'll come back. All right, caller, you're on live with Nothing But Knicks. I almost said the front stoop. You're on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
Hey, Sim, what's up? It's JP.
Hey, how you doing, JP? What's going on?
How you doing?
I'm good.
So I just have a comment in regards to this Dennis Smith Jr. thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's on the team. I'm so over Dennis Smith Jr. And I've been saying this as long as, even before he's been on this team. Because it's like, oh, okay, we didn't take Frank, so we picked Frank. We should have picked Dennis. So I read an article recently as a result of all the changes that we made in our front office, and in both Perrin and Frank Zanin, you hear that they will do the legwork as far as work ethic, and they'll do their research.
Right.
I had read an article recently that really had me scratching my head because I'm like, they said, well, when Mills got fired, then you start hearing all the rumblings that both him and Perry were not on the same page. And then obviously, when you peel back the onion, it shows that Mills may have gotten fired because of the KP thing. But not only that, the point I'm trying to make in regards to this call is focusing on the pro personnel side. So I think the pro personnel guy's name is Ellis. What they're saying is when they made that trade, that if he had only did his research like Zan will do, they would know that you should have never targeted Dennis Smith Jr. for a trade, because if you would have called Dallas, they would have told you that there were certain things that I guess he was exhibiting, whether it wasn't, doing things on the court, the way he was acting amongst his teammates, I'm not sure. The thing about Dennis Smith Jr. I'm not a fan of is, yes, he's good as far as his athleticism is concerned, but once that is gone, what else do you have? What is his NBA? Because when you draft a player, whether it's a role player or a starter, they have to bring a skill set to the team. His skill set is athleticism, which is fine, and I know a lot of people like that because you want the flash. But once that athleticism is gone, what else do you have? I mean, when the Knicks draft, you have to have some kind of baseline. Is this guy on the court? What does he bring on the court? Is he good off the court? Like, what is his attitude when you put him in certain environments? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I'll use Frank as an example. He may not be athletic, and there's certain things he doesn't do well, but he has a high IQ. You know what I mean? He brings defense. He has certain skill sets that I can use. It's just a matter of getting it out of him. What is the love fest with Dennis Smith Jr.? What is his skill set? It's like,
you got a point.
Yeah. Nah, definitely.
What is it?
Hey, Mark, do me a favor. Can you mute yourself because we can hear all the stuff in the background.
My bad, bro.
Put yourself on mute. I agree with you about Dennis Smith Jr., right? He has the athleticism, but I don't know if there's much else besides the athleticism that we can bank on.
Once that is gone, he's a nothing player. Like, you could sit there and talk about Frank all you want to. And I'm using him because those are the two guys that we always talking about, right?
No, this is wrong.
He has to, like, I'll make a good example. My favorite player to come into the league the past 10 years is Luka, right? And I've been targeting Luka for a long time. And people say, oh, well, he's a number one pick. Oh, no, he's slow-footed, this and that. I'm like, but he does everything else. Forget about the slow-footedness. He's not athletic. The guy's killing the league. You know what I mean? We need to stop looking. We need to have a baseline when we're drafting. It can't be about flash and it can't be about athleticism. What NBA skills that this person has? Is he coachable? Whatever his deficiencies are, can we have a staff that could, fix it? Is he good with his teammates? Is he off the court? Is he a good person? That stuff matters. I'm tired of this. Oh, he could dunk. I don't need another Steve Francis. We need to change our mindset, and that's probably why I'm so happy that they, some personal guys that will literally do the legwork.
This is so right.
It's not about athleticism all the time.
No, it's not.
You have to be able to find somebody that's okay. You have a skill. How does your skills mesh with RJ and everybody else?
Yeah, hold on for. Hey guys, you guys are still live because I'm having trouble muting you, so you guys gotta hold on for a minute. No, look, I'm with you, and I think the whole thing, JP and everybody else with Dennis Smith Jr., why the Knicks chose Dennis Smith Jr. in that trade really is because, like Guillermo said, all the fan noise.
It was a Dame thing.
With Steve Mills, I feel like a lot of what Steve Mills did, he based it off of what he heard with fans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the fans like this guy, so let's get this guy. The fans are happy about this, let's get this guy. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was the thing with Dennis Smith Jr.
I read something, because now that they're making all these shit, you're hearing all kind of stuff. You don't know what to believe. But certain things, you kind of piece it together. I also, do you remember when, was it Mikal Bridges? So Mikal Bridges, he went to Villanova, and they went to did they win the championship that year that he got drafted?
Yes.
I remember in the Big East tournament, you had Mills, Perry, and Dolan sit in every single game. They were there, and it seemed as though they were going to draft him. But then all of a sudden they had this, this workout that we hear about, And it's like, okay, I get it. And I was targeting Knox because he's younger and, I felt like he had, his skills, although it may take to manifest. I think he could have been a good player. But you need to be able to stick to your convictions. If you like a guy, I don't want to hear no crap about, the masses want you to pick this guy. Look at Mitchell. Mitchell, when he was in college, when he played for Louisville, he wasn't athletic. He didn't do none of that. He even said it himself. I think, was it the All-Star weekend? He said, I put in a lot of work that off-season because a lot of people, doubted me. And he admitted, he's like, I didn't have the skills that a lot of you picked would have had, and that's why I dropped. I put in the work.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
About it. No
you
doubt.
have to put in the work. I'm sick and we need this guy because of the flash and this and that. What is the point of you having a Dennis Smith Jr., pounding the rock, but at the same time he's pissing off R.J. Barrett because he's not passing the ball when he's supposed to? What are we going to learn? Good basketball teams, they put in the work. They find good players that have skill sets that you can use. And that will drive with everybody else on the team. It's a team sport. It's not golf. You know what I mean?
JP,
I'm just so fed up with this crap, man.
I hear you. Hey, JP, I appreciate the call.
Have a good night, man.
Have a good one. Appreciate it. Always calls and always a good call. Hey, go ahead, Mark.
You know what's so crazy? I wish one of your fans would just get a compilation to when I'm just right on certain players and certain topics.
Here we go. You are not the only person to not be happy about Dennis Smith Jr. Hold up. Way before, a long time ago, when the Knicks drafted Frank Ntilikina over Dennis Smith Jr., there were plenty of people who said, you know what, I did not want Dennis Smith Jr. for a lot of the same things that JP just said, including myself. As a matter of fact, I had people several times challenge me and say, so you are telling me that you would rather have Frank Ntilikina over Dennis Smith Jr.? And I said, yes. I wanted Frank Ntilikina over Dennis Smith Jr. I said, yes.
So hold on.
You are not the only one.
Wait, hold on. This is not towards you. I'm just saying because
I'm just saying you're not the only one. I'm pretty sure Guillermo said it.
I wasn't a big fan.
Listen, the only reason why I'm bringing this up, because this is the same girl, when I was going crazy, she told me, calm down, Mark. This is a good trade that the Knicks did. And now look at her. Look at her how she's doing herself. Look at her.
I love this.
Okay? She went, I can't remember the last time I went off, but she's going off and she's feeling the pain I felt that day on February, 15th? The day when it happened.
Oh, man. Look, this man got a date. Mark probably got the date on his calendar he probably got that date on a dartboard.
Listen, man.
And he throws darts at that date.
Wish I could have been part of that conversation.
Please don't start with Porzingis. Please don't start with Porzingis.
I just wanted to say, I just wanted to say that because when I bring up certain things, man, listen, man, people laugh at me. People say, oh, Mark, you crazy. The trade was good. The man, Steve Mills didn't do no research. He just went in there and just plugged the guy out and traded him. What are we doing here?
This guy.
What are we doing here?
But hey, Mark, do me a favor when you're not talking, because when you move around, you get a lot of sound from your microphone that's coming through. So just put yourself on mute. I don't know why this thing is messing up and I can't mute people, but I need you guys to work with me a little bit.
Look at my man Julian Titan. Read his comment, Sim. Read his comment.
All right. Let me get to a phone call. Call you live. What's popping?
Shout out to the chat in Blackest Time. What's good, son?
Tony Crow, what's popping, brother? How you feeling, man?
I'm a little down because of the social, what's going on in the world and stuff, but
yeah, no doubt about that.
I'm checking in, trying to cheer my spirits up and talk some Knicks. What you talking about today?
Now we just talk about anything that comes up right now.
No doubt.
Mark's still making a whole bunch of noise in the background. I'm trying to get you to mute yourself.
Oh, my bad. Let me mute myself. My bad.
Thank you. There we go. Now we don't got all this noise in the background. Then I'll come to you. Go ahead, Tony.
I was trying to call in the show, the last show you did where you switched over to the sportscaster. I was having a good discussion about LaMelo Ball. I think
and Tyrese Halliburton.
Yes. I do like Halliburton. I probably would still pick Ball. But I wouldn't be mad either way. If we do get Ball, we really just need to get another shooter or two, preferably one in the starting lineup, one off the bench. I'm encouraged with RJ. I think he's going to be at least average 3-point shooter throughout his career. You can see his percentage actually skyrocketing throughout, as the season went on. So I'm not worried about RJ shooting, and I think ultimately he's going to end up being a 3. So just another knockdown shooter next to LaMelo, I think that would do wonders. I'm not too concerned with LaMelo shooting either, because I don't think, number one, I don't think he's going to be putting up a lot of shots like he's been doing throughout his high school and semi-pro career. And then one of the things that we always said, or at least I always said, Frank's biggest problem was just taking shots. He turns down a lot. You're never going to see that with LaMelo. So I think just by him taking those shots that the defense gives him, I think he's going to be fine in that aspect. As long as he's not chucking the ball, which I don't think he would be coming in to do. I think he'll be coming in to do what we wanted to see from Frank. Knowing Frank's such a good passer as well, is you can't just pass all the time. You know what I mean? You got to keep the defense honest. You got to show them that you're willing to take what they give you, and then you're facilitating to show.
Right. Right. So would Halliburton be a duplication of Frank? Better shooter.
But. And honestly, that's what I was gonna say when I was trying to call is ultimately I think Frank is going to be fine, and I think it would be a duplication, and not necessarily, like I said, I wouldn't be mad if we got him, because he's another guy that's gonna be willing to take shots and not hesitate and take what the defense gives him. He'll probably ultimately be with Frank. They're going to be the same type of person ultimately. Frank just has to come more aggressive with his offense, and I think Halliburton is going to be a little behind Frank defensively.
Defensively, yeah.
So in that aspect, I'd rather rock out with Frank, and maybe get somebody else. I really like LaMelo. I think he's going to be fine. I think if you look at his brother's trajectory and, a lot of the same, bad things were said about both of them. And a lot of them was the same, basically the shooting. And I think LaMelo ultimately Alonzo has been fine. So I think LaMelo will be fine as well.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think LaMelo is the guy that we should really look at now. If he's not there, I'm not sure what we do. It's going to be something. Just real quick, Tony, before I let you go.
Yeah.
If the Knicks, somebody just put, not just, but in the super chat, Bravo Mo 1982 said, "What's your first reaction on Thibodeau hiring?" Well, he hasn't been hired yet, But I don't want to talk about what your first reaction is. I think we kind of went over that. I want to ask you, and thank you for the super chat, by the way. I just want to ask you, if he is hired, what is the first thing you're looking for Thibodeau to do?
He's probably gonna get a practice going immediately.
You know what? I don't know. I don't think that. I think the season. I'm looking at just looking at an article on New York Post. It's saying it looks like the Knicks season is probably a long shot that they're going to play another game this season. And as soon as we find something out,
I still think he's going to get a practice going immediately.
Oh, okay. You just think he's going to? He might.
But I mean, I can't think of like what he's going to do like immediately, but like overall, I think the number one thing he's going to do is make us a better defensive team. Even if the people who not the job he did in Minnesota defensively, what everybody has always said, it boils down to the players and the personnel. So, a lot of the knock on Cat was his motor or, his effort defensively. I don't think we have that problem with Mitch at all. Like, if anything, it's going to be more about patience and, bringing him down a notch rather than getting him up for defense.
Right.
I think we obviously would keep a guy like Taj with the relationship that they had, and I think he's a good vet for Mitch. I think it'll help RJ. I think he'll bring some stuff out of Frank. It's crazy. I heard you guys, a lot of guys killing Dennis Smith. If we got Tibbs, I would definitely let Dennis Smith at least rock out this year or however long he's under contract for. Obviously, if a trade comes on that improves the team, we do it. But I'm not just trying to throw him away, but I think Tibbs would do wonders for him.
Okay.
Because, I mean, obviously it's not the comparison of Derrick Rose, but similar type of players. And, Rose was never known as a great defensive player. So he may be able to at least come up with some type of strategy that masks it or at least use his strengths on the defensive end and cover up with defensive players around him.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, hey, Tony, I appreciate it, man. I'll get back, see what these guys think about, what Tom Thibodeau's what are the first things that he would have to do, man. I appreciate your call, bro.
No doubt, man. Keep doing your thing. Shout out to the chat.
No doubt. Look forward to getting you back on the front stoop too, man.
I'll be there, man. I'll be there soon.
No doubt. All right. Peace.
What?
I actually had somebody in a comment, man, that was mad at me because I was asking people to join me on the front stoop. That's something. They said, "Oh, it seems like Sim is just greedy." That's what they said. That he's just greedy. Like half the stuff on the front stoop I can't even monetize because I'm playing somebody else's music. But anyway.
Ridiculous.
So what you guys think? What is Tom Thibodeau's first task?
Defense
if he's hired, what's his first task?
Yeah, real quick. Hey, Tim, real quick with regard to Thibodeau. Right now, I think we're going to be in good hands with either him, Atkinson, or Miller. I'm going to be satisfied with either one of those three. What I will say about Thibodeau, he's going to demand that defense, and I think he's going to if and when he does get the job, I think he's going to look at Mitchell Robinson. I think he's going to look at all his defensive guys. Who we have. He's going to look at that and just try and strategize of how he can use them, real effectively. And then anybody else who's on par he's going to make them better. So with Thibodeau, I got no problem with him right now. I did in the past, but I think he's, this is it for him. If he doesn't make it with this, I don't think he's going to get another head coaching job, for a long while.
That's
if
true.
He doesn't make it with us. So
that might be true.
Yeah. So I'm, I wouldn't mind him, coaching us. Okay. And as far as what the caller said, talking about Frank, he just needs to take more shots. Towards the end of, during the season, he has been taking those more shots. He's been taking it into the hole. The only thing he hasn't really done is his shot hasn't been dropping for him. He's been taking those shots. He doesn't have to, what's the word for it, defer to anybody. He's been taking those shots. So to say that, he doesn't, he's tentative, not taking shots and everything. No, he's been taking. I also saw him trying to dunk it on a couple of people as well. So if he could have connected, forget about it.
He was Marcus Morris. I'm gonna say this: Marcus Morris helped Frank out a lot. I think.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Too bad
absolutely.
that the situation is the way it is, because I think having Marcus Morris here an entire year would have helped Frank Ntilikina continue to develop that, a little bit more of that aggression. But of course, things had to go the way that they went. But the time that he was here, I think it helped Frank. I think Frank took that stuff to heart. Right? You remember he went into the office and was like, "Coach, I'm a dog too." You remember that?
Oh, absolutely. Right. And that's and the thing about it also is, I think he is my number 2. I think whoever we get in the draft, who I'm really hoping that we get LaMelo, he's our number 1, and Frank backing him up.
Yeah.
We will have no problem at the starting point guard and the backup point guard. We will have no problem if we get LaMelo.
I feel with LaMelo, this is one thing I'm scared about with Thibodeau, right? And I know Mark is gonna,
Hey, you see his eyes right now.
I just feel that's fine. It's Mark, but I just feel like with Thibodeau, and he's had 2 situations. So one with Derrick Rose, where I think Thibodeau had the perfect lineup, right? You had about 3 guys, right? I think at the time when you had at their peak, you had Taj Gibson, you had
Noah.
Yeah. Was Boozer with them?
Not yet, but I'm just talking about on defense. You had defensive dogs.
Oh yeah.
On that team, right?
Yeah.
Noah and Taj Gibson
still viable, but then you also had an MVP candidate in Derrick Rose that you were forced to build around him, right? Mm-hmm. Then you go to the Timberwolves, right? Talented team, but obviously Wiggins is not an alpha guy, and he tried to bring in his own guy. And Cat, I don't think Cat's an alpha guy. I think he's an alpha talent. I don't think he's an alpha guy. And you bring Butler, who it's weird, right? Because I was even the one I was scared about Butler coming to the Knicks, just because with Butler, because he's so old school, you need everybody in the hierarchy to kind of support him. You need the coach, you need the GM, and you need the owner to be like, yeah, we like what he's doing, because look what he's doing with the Heat. You can't say until
exactly.
Is that crazy better than the Wolves? So when I look at it, that Tom Thibodeau, to go out there, he can't run these guys into the ground like he's been accused of doing in other places, especially with the Timberwolves. Understandably so, yes, Wiggins is weak, and you had guys on a team that obviously they just couldn't cut it per se. But Thibodeau came in, tried to bring his own captain general. It didn't work. He was allegedly running guys into a ground where it was just preaching too much defense. And it's like, yes, he was fired. He's taking some time off. Has he really learned and grown from that? And I know Mark's going to bring up, this guy was on the top 10, whatever, in offense with the Timberwolves. But again, with the Knicks, we don't have as much talent. And the only way he knows how to win with his team, or at the outset at least, is going to be through defense. And I don't want him to run guys through the ground to play defense. Now, do I want a defensive team? Yes, I do want defense. But again, it's also how you implement it, how you teach these kids. And a guy like LaMelo, who we can say how talented he is, when I watch Melo, it's not like I see a guy, I don't see.
When you want a coach like that behind you?
It's like, the negative reinforcement and the driving into the ground, they take that and it's like they feed into that negative energy. It's like they get stronger, like Doomsday from Superman. That's what I'm saying. That's what I fear about Thibodeau. I don't know if he's really learned from the lesson. That's why my guy is still Atkinson. The thing with Thibodeau, is he a talented defensive coach? Yes. But has he relearned? Is he going to surround himself with the proper assistant coaches who kind of temper the message and remind him, hey, this is not as talented a team. You have to also work on the defensive side and get these guys, develop these guys individually, not just, run my system, play defense until you're freaking your legs are falling off. That's
okay, so Gilmo, let me ask you this question. And Mark, this is for you too. If we do get Thibodeau, wait, let me ask. Hold it. Will Atkinson get another? Will Atkinson get another head coaching job in the NBA? And if he doesn't, could you see him being, okay, so there's no chance of him being an assistant to us.
No, I'm not seeing that. No. I'm not seeing that.
He was an assistant to us before. Why would he come back and take that same job?
Yeah, people are coming up with these grandiose ideas of, Tom Thibodeau as a head coach and Kenny Atkinson as your assistant and Mark Jackson as another assistant, or Kenny Atkinson as the head coach and Tom Thibodeau and Mark Jackson as an assistant. Come on, man. That's too many chiefs, too many cooks in the kitchen. You asking for an explosion. I'm not talking about you, Kevin. I'm just saying.
Okay, all right. I'm just saying. I mean, it could be a scenario where if he does not get a head coaching job, he might have to go to the being an assistant. You never know. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm asking.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think.
So let's see what Mark's got to say.
Yeah, go ahead. Mark. Hey, listen. Mark be bluffing though. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen. Check this out. The other day, right? Mark said Mark was on MBK. He said, "Yo, come over to the front stoop because I got some stuff. I'm gonna blow you guys' mind." No sighting of Mark. Not one sighting of Mark.
Him and Andrew
on the front stoop. Exactly. Not one sighting. You know what I'm saying? All this, everybody's waiting for this heavy philosophical dialogue that Mark's about to bring to the table. He don't show up. So whatever. Go ahead, Mark. Talk to us, bro.
Did the fans come though?
What do you mean?
I'm just saying, did they come to the show? Because if they did, I was still there. You know what I mean? But listen, I still want to know where these players has been run down. Like, I didn't see that at the Timberwolves. I just seen that he was in two positions that you don't want your coaches to be in, and the Timberwolves kind of want to get rid of him from that position. And on top of that, it was due to all the Jimmy Butler debacle of not paying him and paying Wiggins, and Jimmy Butler not being for Cat and Wiggins, which tell you about their personality. Now, my whole thing is...
It also happened with the Bulls, Mark.
No, hold on.
Yes, it did.
Wait. No. If you go back to that situation, they didn't give him the extension deal. They just wanted to get rid of him. His 5 years was up, and they just wanted to get rid of him.
No. What I was saying is that with the whole accusations of him running the team after Derrick Rose got hurt, and then there was a thing between Derrick Rose and Butler, and there was this faction where guys from Butler's side. It was that Butler. Hold up, that Butler was one of those guys. He pushed. He was like, "Yo, you got to work hard." Blah blah. He was Thibodeau's general. But the other guys on the team were accusing Thibodeau, especially after Rose got hurt, and Rose tried to come back like, "Yo, this dude is running us into the ground." Like, dude, that's.
And wasn't Noah hurt? Wasn't Noah hurt? Wasn't Jakeem Noah hurt as well?
Hold on.
That year, I'm not sure particularly that year. I mean, he started getting hurt, but I remember the Bulls split. The Bulls. There were two factions. There was a Derrick Rose faction after he came back and tried to reassert himself, and Butler, who was growing into like a close to 20 or say 18 point per game player. And there was literally reports that players were unhappy with Thibodeau because he was running them into the ground and kind of living through Butler, who was his icon. He was the guy. Butler was the guy who Thibodeau wanted. So to say that it just happened with the Wolves, no, it started from the Bulls with Thibodeau.
Hold on, so let me break this down. After Derrick Rose got hurt twice in a row, that's when Jimmy Butler rised. Now, if you go back and look at the evidence, that's when Jimmy Butler rised. He became their best player because Derrick Rose came back from 2 knee injuries. From the second one, he was not the type of player that he was after the first one. So in that case, Jimmy Butler had every right. His ranks rolled up to be the best player. He acts like it. So for Derrick Rose to come in and trying to come back as the best player, that was not going to happen. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
He was the All-Star.
It doesn't matter if he was All-Star. Was he better than Jimmy Butler after those 2 injuries? No, he was not. No, he was not.
The argument is that if he was running players into the ground, not if Jimmy Butler was better than
Hold on.
Exactly.
If you show me at least 3 players that said that about Tom Thibodeau, if you show me 3 players,
they're not gonna say that, bro. No player can come out.
Wait. Is that media? Yeah. Is that media talking to you that way? Because again, media, when it comes to Tom Thibodeau, even right now, they're still saying that, and he never did that even in the Wolves. He never ran them down. And you're talking about him running down Derrick Rose? The dude barely even played 32 minutes playing with Tom Thibodeau.
That is true. I mean, part of
running somebody down the ground.
So is it fake news? Is it fake news?
Well, I mean, if you look at it, when you look at it, because I did go back and look at some of the minutes of these players, Derrick Rose was averaging like 32 minutes a game. Part of that is probably due to his injuries, right? The guy who averaged the highest amount of minutes was Luol Deng. He was like 38, 39 minutes a game. But he was getting that before Tom Thibodeau even got there.
Way before Tom Thibodeau got there.
He was getting that. These other guys were about 32, maybe sometimes when they were really good, when they had some good years or when they had a lot of injuries. Some of the guys were getting 36, 37 minutes. But they weren't getting crazy minutes. Now, the practices, I can't attest to.
Okay, cool. That's cool. But okay, so
can I say something real quick?
Mark, let me interject. Let me interject one thing. Mark's argument is valid. The only thing he left out was there were multiple injuries. It wasn't just Derrick Rose. There was injuries to Richard Hamilton and Mike Dunleavy and other guys.
Richard Hamilton was.
But listen. So they had so many injuries in the backcourt and throughout the roster that they had to bring guys basically off the street. And then that propelled the Jimmy Butler rise because Jimmy Butler stayed healthy, playing with all these guys that they were basically playing with scrap parts. So when Derrick Rose came back, he's like, yo, how you just going to come back and say this your team when I basically dragged this team of spare parts to the playoffs without you being here?
Well, let me tell you something. Why I look at Tom Thibodeau, this Knicks team need a remedy of get to work. You're going to do this 10 times, 20 times until you get it right. Okay, I'm not here to baby this big team because we talk about Frank not getting minutes, this player not getting minutes, this player, and y'all talking about he's gonna play all these guys minutes. I want to play.
But can't Tina Miller do the same thing? I'm asking.
Not the fervor that Tom Thibodeau had, but I think he has a better fervor. I think he commands troops better than those guys. Because if Kenny Atkinson commanded troops, Kevin Durant and Kyrie wouldn't boot him out. Period.
Right.
Period.
Here's a quote directly from Tom Thibodeau when they were talking to him about running plays, whatever. I think every team is different. If you have younger players, you're going to play them a little bit more. If you have guys in their 30s, you're probably going to pull them back. And here's the last quote of that interview. I think people get caught up in the wrong stuff. The most important thing is winning. When you have a person who says stuff like that, now he could be saying that stuff to deflect, but we're making it seem as if he does not have that in him where he wants to play guys heavy minutes. He never said, look at my numbers. I don't play. There's literally articles that point out where Tom Thibodeau is admitting he plays heavy minutes on players. Now, look, I agree. I want my players to get as much experience as possible. But there's a difference between getting you guys proper experience and running players into the ground. Because we do not play. We look at these players as toys. Oh, yeah, they should just go out and do whatever. Blah, blah, blah. Some of these guys, they play night in, night out. And I'm not talking about, understand, they do stuff extracurricular, whatever. But you're talking about traveling. You're talking about emotion. We take out a lot of the other things that goes into them being a human being. And then we say, they should play 36 minutes a night, or 40-something minutes a night. Because, back in the day, that's not how you should be thinking. Guys heavy minutes. But Tom Thibodeau, that is in him. It's not media stuff. Go read these articles. It's him saying this and admitting this. He has that.
So you don't think Pat Riley and Miami Heat, what they do down there, you don't think these players play hard practices and stuff like that?
I didn't say hard practice. That's not my point.
No, I'm just saying. Wait.
There's a difference. There's a difference.
I'm just saying.
Argue on my point, Art. That's not my point.
Wait, hold on. The way Miami Heat plays, period. When they come on the court and when you see them play, they play overly aggressive.
Style
Wait, hold on.
Can you just argue my point? That's not my point. I'm not talking about style of play. I'm talking about running players into the ground. He has a great conditioning, and I want the Knicks to have that. If we have guys who can run like that, I love it.
So
my issue again with Tom Thibodeau is if his only idea.
We had a coach. We had a coach from the Miami Heat. We had a coach from the Miami Heat, and it didn't work.
All right, hey, let me get to a phone call here. Let me get to a phone call here, guys. Let me get to a phone call and then get a couple super chats and then we'll get back to it. Caller. Caller, you live. You are live on Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
Yo, Sim, how you doing, bro? How's everything, man?
I'm good, brother. How you feeling?
Good. Actually, wanted to talk draft if I could for a minute.
You want to talk what?
About the draft.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear, a lot of people want Ball, and I get it. If we did get the first pick, that's who I would take. But it's just like, I just don't know I don't think it's a great fit just because we need shooting. We have, that's going to be our core, right? Ball, RJ, and Mitch. Where is your shooting coming from? You're going to have to, it's a must that you're going to have to get a shooter at the 2, which I think RJ should be a 3. I think that's his greatest position. I think that's where his future is going to be, the small forward. And then you got to get a shooter at the 4. You got to move Randall, and then you got a knockdown shooter at the 4. Because to make RJ and Mitch and Ball better, you got to have, a couple of knockdown shooters that could space the floor for these guys. You know what I mean? So it's like, even if we got the first or second pick, I wouldn't have a huge problem trading down. Next year's draft is going to be probably the best draft in over 10 years. So if you could get maybe a lower pick and then a pick in next year's draft, to me, that's who the home run would be. Then I would take, because the shooters in this draft are in like the 10 to 16 range. You got Sadiq Bey, you got who you were just talking about the other day, Vassell, and then Aaron Naismith. We haven't done much on, but he's definitely the best shooter in this draft. So if you can get one of those two, say between 10 and 15, and then maybe trade back up, that's what I would do. I would trade down, and then I would trade back up from 27, and then maybe try and snag a Kira Lewis, in 16 or 17. If you could get a shooter that you could put at the 2, and then you can trade up and then get Kira Lewis. To me, that's what my ideal draft would be for the Knicks.
Okay,
that's just my opinion, at least.
Okay, so you think this is not the draft to really try to go for the home run, basically?
Yeah, that's what my home run would be. Maybe, I know a lot of people are just hung on Ball. I'm not. I like him, I do. But I don't think there's a Morant in this class. I don't think any of these point guards are coming in and they're doing what Morant did for Memphis. I don't see that. So whether we get the second pick, the 6th pick, I have no problem trading down and getting Sadiq Bey or Vassell or Aaron Naismith, and then maybe trading back up from 27 and then trying to snag a Kira Lewis at 16, 17, 18 or so. You got a shooter, and then you got a point guard. To me, that would be a great draft for the Knicks.
All right. So you're looking for, because of the way that the draft, you think is best to, instead of trying to go for a home run player, fill in some pieces that we need.
Quantity over quality, I guess I could, you could say 2 very solid players instead of maybe one that could be really, really good. That's just, it's just my feelings on it. I know I'm sure other people think, may think that's wrong, but
all right.
It's just, just because we need shooting so desperately. The shooters in this draft are towards kind of the end of the lottery. The 3 names I said, the Naismith, Vassell, and Sadiq Bey. That's the only way I think we could get one of them is if we trade up from 27 or trade down, because, we're not going to be picking in that 10 to 15 range, so,
I think that, I think,
yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it depends on where we fall in the draft. That's what I think.
Yeah, I hear you, but either way, man, like I wouldn't have to go crazy. Like I wouldn't have a huge problem trade down regardless of what pick we get. To be honest with you.
Yeah. All right.
Like,
well, hey, my man, I appreciate your call, bro.
All right, thanks a lot, man. Have a good one. All right.
No doubt. Peace.
All right.
I disagree with that. If we get top 5, forget that. I'm not trading that down. That's not happening.
Hold on, Kevin. He
said wherever. Hey, Mark, he said wherever. He said wherever we pick.
Listen, if it's the top 3, you just take the best 3 players available. But he kind of makes sense where it's to a point where I don't feel high on this draft. There's just certain people who I would take. I would dangle that 5th pick and go and try to trade and go get ancillary pieces to surround our team. Like he said, Sade Bay.
Come on. We were already saying how LaMelo was box office, and that's the
listen what I just said. I just said if we was top 3, you take the best 3 available.
What if we're top 5? If we're top 5 and we want to try and trade up, go ahead.
What he's saying, those 4th, 5th picks, we don't feel confident. We don't feel confident picking there. So he's coming from that standpoint where it's like, yeah, I would try to trade that to go get more assets to put onto this team, more younger players. Like for say, I would trade down. If someone want the 4th or 5th pick, that would give me the opportunity to go get Sade Bay probably past the 15th pick, because I really like Sade Bay, and he's probably one of the players who I would take for a shooting guard and someone that can play defense, and I won't feel bad about it.
I like Sade Bay too, man.
I love him a lot.
I really like that kid.
And you can get assets by getting rid of that 4th, 5th. You can get assets by getting that 4th, 5th pick, getting a young player, or getting another piece to put on the Knicks. So what he's saying, he's kind of right. But if you're the first 3, you take the best player available.
I'm gonna tell you what, I would not be upset if we ended up with Sadiq Bey and Kira Lewis.
Yo, bro,
I would not be upset at that at all.
Sim, that would be my dream, and I'll be the most happiest man on earth if I could land those 2 players on my team, even though I love LaMelo. But if I could get 2 of those young players and I know what they could bring and their skill set and how they approach the game, I'll be the happiest man. I'll be the happiest man, because those are 2 young players.
All right. Okay, so I see what you're saying, Mark.
No, but he kind of makes sense, because honestly, I don't feel as confident taking Sade Bay at 4 or 5. I don't.
But the way he was saying was that even if we were top 3,
now he's bugging when it comes top 3, because I think those 3 players right there. I think Wiseman is going to come in. I think he's going to come in 18 and 10. I think Anthony Edwards, even if he's not a budding star like crazy, I think he's going to be at least 15 to 18 points a game coming in. I think he's going to be that. And even if he's not a superstar, he's going to be an all-star level type player. That's how I feel about him. I don't feel like he's going to fail. I don't feel like none of those 3 players are going to fail to a certain extent where they're a complete bust, and then you just want to get rid of them after their 3rd, 4th year. I don't think from those 3. But the rest of the draft, those are more players that you want to put on good teams that they could play now for teams like Obi Toppin. You put him on a good team, any good team, he's going to be ready to play. But to put him on this young talent, it's going to take time for Obi Toppin to really flourish into his role and stuff like that. But when it comes to those 3 guys of Edwards, LaMelo, and Wiseman, I just think their superior talent alone is just going to be. It's going to be something you're going to wait for. You're going to wait those 4 years for them to become that talent, especially Wiseman, because I think he can score on all levels. But I think it's sudden impact with him. Even for those 3 games I watched in college, Sim, it's his presence alone. When you have presence, that's the impact that you want in your player, because that means that is a sign of him making your teammates better, making a sign of making sure team defense don't get other players open, and that's the player that we need for this Knicks team.
Which player is this?
Wiseman, Edwards. I think those players are good enough to
James Wiseman. Man.
Yeah, James Wiseman. I think he's good enough.
What does Wiseman do that's different from Mitch? Besides a little jumper.
Hold on, he has a jump shot.
Yeah, we're on mute, Isaiah. You can talk.
He could run the floor. He could run the floor very well. He could defend. He could defend big centers because he's 250 right now. No, if Mitch cannot defend these big centers. No, he cannot.
What?
No, he cannot. No, he cannot. He can't defend the Embiid of the world. No, he cannot. No, he cannot.
Embiid is only one player.
He did
hold his own against Embiid a little bit. He did.
Yeah, you're making this stuff up that he can't defend centers. The only problem, one of the centers I saw him have problems with, when they went out to the West Coast, he did struggle with some of those centers. He struggled with Harrell. He struggled with, what's his boy's name?
Gobert
from Utah. I can't remember the Lakers game, but I just remember some of those guys getting used to stuff.
Well, in that Lakers game, it was Miguel
JaVale McGee.
Yeah,
McGee.
and
Dwight Howard.
Dwight
Howard.
I've seen it.
Anthony Davis.
Dwight Howard.
I've seen it from
Anthony Davis.
Wiseman's not this shutdown defensive center who could just stop everything.
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying
is that ability that you're saying from Wiseman? Hold up, Kevin. Hold up. The stuff we had before with Wiseman is that if you look at Wiseman, is this a guy that you say, all right, I'm gonna draft this guy because Mitchell Robinson might be too much and there's more upside with Wiseman? And those things you have to consider, because when I look at Wiseman's game,
he's more offensively skilled.
Discernible advantage over is that he does shoot a little bit of a mid-range. And his back-to-basket game, it's developing. Is not Mitch's. Is better than Mitch's, but he also has issues where he ain't Embiid in terms of his footwork.
Gammo. He commands double team. That's something Mitch do not. That's something Mitch do not.
College double team.
He commands double team.
The other center I was thinking of was the center from
the thing about Wiseman is y'all got to look at the big picture, man. The dude is Mitchell Robinson is a nice 40 Cadillac, right? But James Wiseman is a Lamborghini. You can't compare these
fundamentals,
two.
man.
Is James Wiseman though?
Listen.
Do not use hyperbole.
James Wiseman looks so different than college players. It's ridiculous.
That's not true.
The way the dude moves at his size.
Okay, so let me ask this question: Is James Wiseman really? Because we only seen him play 3 games?
Yeah.
Is his ceiling really that much higher than Mitch's? That we're like, you gotta get him if we can. Is it? That's the question. That is the question.
No.
Does Mitch ever look to shoot the ball, even if when teams?
Oh my God.
But we're not talking about in the next. Let's talk about. Let's look at 7-8 years though. In the league, right? Both of these guys. 5 years down the line. Let's look at 5 years down the line. Is James Wiseman going to be that much better than Mitch 5 years down the line? I'm not saying he isn't. I'm just asking that question because that's what the Knicks got to look at. If you're going to consider taking James Wiseman, you got to say this guy is going to be a 15-year All-Star.
Sam, his footwork is already better than Mitch, and he's only 19 years old.
But his footwork is not as Hold up.
Oh my God!
Watch no, because you guys are making some of this stuff up. Go watch the scouting videos on him, and literally his footwork. Even though, look, when he can make a step to the basket, especially from the foul line, yes, he's good. But back to the basket game and also imposing his strength against guys with his back-to-basket game and his up-front game is one of his weaknesses, actually. So let's stop overrating this guy like he's Embiid. Right. He's not Embiid with the footwork. He's not Embiid with the strength. Why is that?
Hold on. Wait. And furthermore, you talk about Embiid at 22 compared to Wiseman at 19.
Again, when you Lamborghini, when you say something's a Lamborghini, you see the car part. That's a Lamborghini. You look at a Lamborghini and say that is a Lamborghini. You don't look at the engine and say, well, that's a Lamborghini in 5 years. No. If we're talking about, again, what Sim said, the same potential you're getting from Wiseman, you have to
crazy, bro.
Okay. Let's get to Isaiah. Isaiah, go ahead, man. Let's get to Isaiah, then I want to get to a couple of these super chats.
Sim, Sim, no offense to Freezy and Mark, but I don't understand where we're getting this Wiseman is. If we think Wiseman is going to be this, he played 3 games. Three college games.
Let me ask you a question. Did you see those 3 games that he played and how imposing he was?
I mean, to me, this is to me that Kyrie. I always call this the Kyrie Irving effect when Kyrie Irving played like 10 games and everybody was just like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. They said the same thing about Darius Garland last year. And I'm not comparing, I know one's a point guard, but they were comparing this where, Darius Garland had played like 6 games and everybody was like, yo, this dude is the next, this and that. And then look at how he played this year. In my opinion, no. Is he going to be as good as Mitch?
Be better.
They can, I don't know, probably be the same, but
I don't know.
I think people are ODing Wiseman, son, to be honest with you. He's very, very old. And I don't think
all right, so let's,
I don't see him need.
All right, so let's answer this question here. It's along the same lines. Super chat from Ibrima John. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. He said he's a huge Knicks fan. Good. He said, what can the Knicks offer the Timberwolves for their 2020 NBA draft pick, their first round pick? What can they offer the Timberwolves, right? So that they can maybe be creative and pull down LaMelo and Wiseman.
If you actually meet them, what we would have to do?
Give up RJ.
That ain't happening. That ain't happening.
Give up RJ.
Okay, let me be realistic without giving up RJ. You got to say goodbye to that protected Dallas pick. You're gonna have to trade. You're gonna have to trade one of your own future first round picks. Probably a Hornets second round pick. And maybe you throw in Dennis Smith or Kevin Knox.
In my opinion, there's no way. I don't think there's a way you get a top 3. I don't think there's any way that you get another top 3 pick.
I'm not saying all that. I'm saying those are the players that will be the factors. That like you could mix and match that. I'm not saying you're gonna give them all that.
Get a top 3 pick now.
Isaiah, when you're a top 3 pick, just like when Dallas gave up their pick in their other first round, you have to do something like that to entice to get that 3rd pick. You don't know. Those are very, very, very valuable to teams, man. They're going to ask for your young player and a future. They're probably going to ask for the next 2021.
Mark, let me ask you this question. When they made the trade of Luka and Trae Young, did Dallas have to give them something else for that?
They gave up that pick, and I think their 2021 pick. They had to give up.
They gave up this year's pick too because they got Cam Reddish.
But they also see, this guy is talking about keeping our pick in this year's draft and then trading into another top 3 pick. I can't see that happening without giving up RJ. I don't see that happening without giving up RJ. So I think that would be.
Ask for RJ.
I don't see that happening. And then Ishmael Rivas, thank you for the super chat. He said, if the Knicks do bring in Tibbs, he said their priority is to trade Randall for Chris Paul so that he can mentor LaMelo and Frank, and then draft Sadiq Bey with the number 27th pick. I don't think that Sadiq Bey is going to be there at number 27. He's top
15, man. He's top 15. Y'all don't understand how much of a shooter he is.
And then draft Jalen Smith at number 38 and draft shooting guard Cassius Stanley. I could see that happening, trading for CP3. As far as getting Sadiq Bey down at number 27, I don't think that's going to happen.
Sam, he talking about Jaden Smith won't come off the board from 420.
Yeah, Jaden Smith's going to come off for like 15, they said.
He is.
Right. Jalen Smith, Jalen Smith too. Exactly.
I'm sorry. Wow.
He's a top 15 talent, man. That kid is really, really good. Just from his skill set.
Right.
That's NBA skill set, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Justin Hernandez, big shout out to him. Thank you for the super chats. He's not believing in Tom Thibodeau. He said Tom Thibodeau spells another bad year. Atkinson is the future. He said he thinks Tom is an NBA ready team coach. And that Atkinson can develop the players.
Can I ask you a question, Sim?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think Tim's approach would just match RJ's approach? Because when I watch RJ, it's just
that's one player.
And guess what?
But he is your top player, though. He's supposed to be your top player. He's supposed to be the guy that leads and sets the culture, though.
He's the cornerstone. He is your cornerstone.
You always get a.
Do y'all really think Tom Thibodeau is going to be a good coach for the next? Do y'all really believe that?
Nope, I don't.
So hold on. Wait. This is so crazy. You judging Kenny Atkinson off one good year than a man that had.
No. It's not one good year.
I can't agree with that, Mark. I can't agree with that,
and
Mark.
also-
He took the
Thibodeau
Nets
had
from a bad team from a terrible team to a good team.
Wait, hold on.
He took the Nets. He took the Nets from a terrible team
than the Wolves or the Chicago Bulls, bro.
Hold on. It's not like you're talking about he took that team somewhere until they got D'Angelo Russell, which was a servable point guard that was super talented.
I mean,
when they got
but
But then on the same breath, you have to say Tom Thibodeau got blessed with Derrick Rose. You can't do that, Mark.
Hold on. He turned Jimmy Butler into an all-star. Sorry. It's my bad. He took him from nothing to something.
And Atkinson turned Dinwiddie into one of the best pick-and-roll point guards in the game.
Hold on, Gamo. If you go watch Dinwiddie and Pistons, which no one did.
Dude, Dinwiddie was not doing that to Pistons. Stop, Mark. Stop. Don't give me with you. That one game you see on July, you knew he was going to be a star. Stop it. No one knew Dinwiddie was going to be that good. Stop it, Wait. Revisionist history.
Wait. You saying Dinwiddie's a star in this league today?
No. I'm saying as good as he is now. I'm saying no one knew Dinwiddie's going to be as good as he is now. Stop it.
What I'm trying to tell you, his production is the same. He's the same player from when he left the Pistons and went to the Nets. You can book it and go watch him.
No. I disagree with that. No. Kenny did wonders with him.
Yeah, I can't rock with you.
You're making up stuff now.
Kenny, man.
You see, the thing is, y'all never watched the Pistons. So again, y'all
didn't watch the Pistons.
Oh my God!
Hold up, guys. Let me.
I understand your argument. Y'all want Kenny Atkinson.
Let me kill Mark right now. Let me kill Mark right now.
And you're trying to work me every way possible.
Mark, you said that. Since you watch so many Pistons games, right? This is how much he was average. Let me read up the stats for his last year with the Pistons, right? Oh, excuse me. Yeah, his last year with the Pistons.
Okay.
Last year with the Pistons, 4.8 points off of 13.3 minutes, 3-point percentage of 100, field goal percentage of 35.2%. Mark, stop lying.
And then when he went to the Bulls, what?
This dude in no.
Wait.
You know what his stats were the next year with the Nets? This is how you be lying, bro. His next year with the Nets was 7.3 points. For 44.4% from field goal and 37% from three. No, you can't even tell me from that first Nets year he was going to blast for a star. You're making stuff up. You did not watch the Stop lying.
I just said he plays the same way.
See how Mark be changing.
Mark, you just said you watch Piston games, Mark.
This dude be lying. Stop, Mark.
He plays the same way.
It don't matter the style of way you play. It matters how much you contribute. I can play like Westbrook. If I'm only getting 5 minutes, put like this. If Trey got 30 minutes a game, he'll be averaging a lot more. But if you look at his stats now, right? I mean, you can look at the peripherals and say, all right, the efficiency is there, right? But if you look at his stats, you wouldn't say, yo, if you got to the Lakers next year and averaged 20 points a game, you wouldn't. Well, some of us would be.
Okay. So now, all right.
If you look at it in isolation, you wouldn't be saying, yo, bro, I always knew he was going to be a 25-point game score in a game. Stop, bro. This dude was averaging nothing.
Okay.
Smart. Stop it.
Wait.
You trying to win an argument? You ain't going to win.
Hold on, Gamma.
Take the L, Mark. It's okay.
No, I'm taking the L. I'll take the L. It doesn't matter to me.
Oh, now it doesn't matter because you're wrong, right? It don't matter, right?
No, it just doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to go to the next level.
You don't watch Pistons games. What are you talking about?
Hold on. Let me ask you a question. If Dinwiddie was this good, right? If we're saying that he's this good with this Kenny Atkinson, what was Brooklyn Nets doing? What are they doing this year? What are they doing this year?
Mark, hold on, Mark.
Wait a minute. No.
I mean, but you got to understand what happened with Kyrie and K. I mean, come on. That's not Kenny Atkinson's fault, bro. That's not Kenny Atkinson's fault.
Exactly.
That's not Kenny Atkinson's fault, man. Kenny Atkinson took the Nets.
They gave up on him.
Hold on. Kyrie only played 15 games.
Mark, stop it, Mark. Mark, you know basketball.
He was starting this whole year.
Side of the basketball.
But I'm saying, hold up for 1 second. Hold up. Yes, Kyrie Irving only played, what you say, 15 games, you said?
15 games. 15 games.
But you're asking what happened. How come if Kyrie Irving replaced D'Angelo Russell, so there's a missing piece there, right? So yes, Kyrie Irving only played 15 games. That means you don't have D'Angelo Russell. You don't have Kyrie Irving either.
So,
You know what I'm saying? So of course you're not going to be as good. And it's still,
from a
I mean,
team standpoint, wait, Mark. From a team standpoint, from a team standpoint, Russell was a better player than Irving was. From a team standpoint,
he was a better fit, a better fit. A better fit for the team. A better fit.
Wait. We can't really say that because he only played 15 games.
No, Mark.
Mark, if you watch that team, if you actually watch the Nets games, which you probably didn't, they had a lot more. This is from the mouth of Jared Allen, because he didn't want to insult Kyrie Irving. He said but he said D'Angelo Russell's name. He said D'Angelo Russell was a guy that got everybody involved on the offense. Kyrie Irving can do amazing things on the ball, as in dribble and score. From that team, when you watch the team this year versus the team they had with D'Angelo Russell, a lot more guys were able to contribute. Why do you think the Nets suffered so much with literally mostly of the same cast outside of D'Angelo Russell and I think the other guy with the weird name, the light-skinned
Chris LeVert?
No, Ryan Hollins Jefferson.
Ryan Hollins Jefferson. If you look at that team with the Nets, they were a lot more effective. Why do you think guys like Joe Harris and again Dinwiddie was effective? And the funniest thing is that when Kyrie Irving went down with the injury with the Nets, when they had Dinwiddie playing at the point guard position, they were actually winning more games. So stop. Kyrie Irving does not, as much as I love Kyrie Irving's talent, does not fit that team. He doesn't fit a lot of teams. Look what he did with the Celtics. That super talented team. Who's an inferior player to Kyrie Irving individually has better chemistry with that Celtics team, and they were doing better than you could say trajectory-wise than they were with Kyrie Irving. Let's stop going off an average. Let's go off of facts, Mark. You already had your facts.
So let me ask a question. Okay, like Kenny Atkinson had 4 years. Well, he had 4 years to get the Nets to where they was that fourth year. So we're bringing in Tom Thibodeau.
Okay.
From when he stepped in, regardless of anything, when he stepped in, they've been a playoff team, second rounder type team without their best star.
Okay.
Because Kenny Atkinson got them to the playoffs their first time, because those 2 seasons prior to, I don't think they won less than 15 games. Look that up for me. I don't want to be wrong this time. Wait, hold on.
At least admit it. You gotta give Mark that. At least admit it, man.
It's okay for me to admit it. I go to sleep and wake up happy the next day.
Here we go.
I don't care about your life.
But anyway. So it's not until that year that they went and traded for D'Angelo, which D'Angelo raised them to another level. What makes you think that Tom Thibodeau can't do what Kenny Atkinson did?
Because you know why? When I look at Kenny Atkinson, this is why I like Kenny Atkinson. You could take less talent and make them successful at a high level. Again, when you look at Tom Thibodeau's teams, all of his teams have had a lot of talent. Whether they had a lot of talent, and you can argue that he underachieved with that Wolves team, right? When you look at Kenny Atkinson, yes, he had those 4 years, but let's be honest, because of the brilliance of this idiot, Billy King, Billy King. What he did to the Nets, that team was devoid of a lot of talent they should have been drafting. And for him to get I want to say retreads, but I don't want to disrespect anybody's career, but what people consider retreads and guys like D'Angelo Russell, he's talented, but he's a head case.
He always been talented.
Let me finish. No, Mark.
Let him finish.
One at a time.
Let him finish.
When you have a guy who can literally make a gourmet soup with some no frills ingredients, you got to say there's something about that guy that works for those people, man. No one was looking at Joe Harris and saying this guy, he's going to be one of the elite 3-point shooters, right? No one looked at Dinwiddie and said, this boy's going to be one of the best pick-and-roll point guards in the game, who can actually possibly play as a solid point guard if he gets those started minutes over whoever else. Jared Allen, you could just say he's Mitchell Robinson, but again, Jared Allen's a guy who could easily wash out in the league. And he found a way for him to be effective in that high pick and roll system he runs. D'Angelo Russell, a guy who everyone thought was selfish, he's getting praises. This guy was getting people involved in the offense. And when it came time, he was taking those big shots and he was hitting them. When you can instill confidence in players who, let's be honest, probably say, man, this might be my last few years in the league, even though I'm young, because I did what I did in the Lakers or whatever. Yeah. When you can get a coach who can revive players and get them to overachieve, I take that any day versus
Gammo.
over there over Thibodeau, who has issues with working guys into the ground and not being able to communicate with certain players. Thibodeau reminds me of George Karl in many ways. He's old school, and he thinks in literally one way. I respect George Karl to the high heavens, but George Karl was successful with the Supersonics. When he got with that team with the Kings, they weren't the most talented, but he had issues with DeMarcus Cousins and the team and blah, 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 and there was clashing. I don't want a guy who's going to clash with these players. I want the most effective chemistry building, individual player development type of coach that we get.
Wait. I'm trying to figure out where Tom Thibodeau don't fit that mold right there, because he instilled confidence to make Noah go against LeBron James in playoff contention, playing as great as you can get that team to play against Miami. I don't understand.
I think it's about this.
I never said Chicago. No.
So this is the last thing I say that I'm gonna say. I think it's about this with Kenny Atkinson. If there's just a lot of documentation about the background stuff, not just the on-court, but the background developmental systems that he put in place to help guys get to where they, to where they went. I don't know about Tom Thibodeau. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that has, these background, like each player on a certain schedule that you got to come in at this time to get this individual work done in this specific area. This whole nutrition plan. And I mean, like, he had like a college type of system, workout system, developmental system. I'm not sure Tom Thibodeau has that. I feel like Tom Thibodeau is more of, I got some guys, I got some stars, I can piece some things together and I can rile them up and I can motivate them to play and work hard.
I hope Kenny Atkinson get hired.
Let's be real. We thought that Russell was on his way out the league until he got injured. Russell, D'Angelo Russell.
No.
He wasn't going out the league.
His talent didn't wear him out the league.
He wasn't going out the league, but he was on the lower end of the totem pole until he was on the net.
He got traded because he snitched. It was never his talent. He got traded because he snitched. It wasn't his talent. It wasn't his talent.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Hey, let me get to a phone call.
Kobe snitched on Shaq, and they never traded him. So, your talent don't supersede the BS. They'll trade you, but if D'Angelo Russell was that talented, or they saw him as being that talented,
then Magic came in. Once you bring Magic Johnson in, he's gonna get what he want to get, which he did. He got rid of everybody and got his guys.
All right, let me get to a phone call, fellas. Let me get to a phone call. All right, caller, you live on Nothing But Knicks. What's poppin'?
Hey, what's good, Sinbad? What's up, brother?
What's good, bro?
You guys are talking about.
Hey, guys, you gotta stay muted. You guys gotta stay muted. You guys gotta either mute yourself or stay quiet.
Okay.
Go ahead, caller.
So,
I see Mark still flipping out.
I wanted to talk about the draft. Is it okay to talk about the draft a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Open mic.
I know somebody was talking about James Wiseman. Look, James Wiseman, he is dope. I got to give credit to people in the chat group saying that, hey, listen, James Wiseman is dope and all that. And also, I agree with the caller before. He was talking about getting some shooters for the Knicks. I'm starting to have second thoughts about the need for a point guard and all that, because I'm starting to wonder, is that overhyped? Like, we already have Frank. Maybe we just need a veteran guard like Chris Paul, who you like. Or I like Spencer Dinwiddie. So I like Spencer Dinwiddie. I think we should offer we offer OKC. We should see, hey, if they don't take it, should we offer that to Brooklyn to see if we can get Spencer Dinwiddie? I think we need a veteran point guard instead of Alfred Payton. I mean, worst comes to worst, we keep Alfred Payton, but if we can get a Chris Paul, I'm better. I like that idea, Chris Paul or possibly Spencer Dinwiddie. But my whole thing is now I'm starting to have another thing going too, where, I'm starting to agree with people in the chat about James Wiseman, because I'm like, are the Knicks in the position like they were with Kristaps Porzingis, where Kristaps Porzingis can get you a lot in the market. We need better veterans other than Wayne Ellington, better than Reggie Bullock, and definitely Bobby Portis. If I can put Mitchell Robinson in that situation, right, and I can get
a Bogdan Bogdanovic or a Bojan Bogdanovic or another shooter, I'm like, I think the Knicks should have, think about that situation. So before, I want to apologize because before I thought it was crazy to bring in a center or even draft a center. And you remember that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, listen, man, that's a hell no. That's crazy. So I'm like, no. I was like, what's more crazy, it might be to be keeping Mitchell Robinson if the Knicks can get a James Wiseman and improving our veterans. I don't think the Knicks have a problem with in point guard or shooting guard, RJ, Knox. But listen, man, if Mitchell Robinson can improve our veterans and help build the culture, we should look into that. So, Mitchell Robinson, the Clipper pick, or maybe Mitchell Robinson in the first-round pick, and see who can we surround these guys so that we can have a winning culture, So I agree with the previous caller. He was talking about, man, about getting some shooters, but I disagree with him. Look, hell no, LaMelo Ball is dope, though. I think he's the real deal. And I think everybody besides who's Mark is sleeping on James Wiseman. Those two guys, yes, I do believe LaMelo Ball can be a Ja Morant, if not the first year or second year. So I want to, I want to be on the record saying that. And also, if the Knicks can get a James Wiseman and you can get something for Mitchell Robinson and make a package of Wayne Ellington and maybe Dennis Smith Jr. Oh, I want to talk about Dennis Smith Jr. too. I was going to have that conversation with you. Do you remember, I don't know if you paid attention on last summer, but Chris Paul was practicing with Dennis Smith Jr. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, cool. I'm going to put emphasis on that. I'm emphasizing on that because, I know you're also a big LeBron James fan too, right? Am I correct? I remember something about LeBron.
I'm not really
James
a big LeBron James fan. I'm not a big LeBron fan.
Okay, cool. But I want to put this in context that, now I'm going to tell you I'm assuming, okay? Because I don't want to say, that, Dennis Smith Jr. and Chris Paul, I feel that if you bring in Chris Paul, then Dennis Smith Jr. may stay with Chris Paul. Because of they get along and that sort of thing. Hey, they practice together and they played. That because they have history of working out on the summer, so to speak. That if you want to bring in Dennis Smith Jr., I feel like Dennis Smith Jr. has a higher reason might stay. That's what I feel. I could be wrong. I could be assuming. And I feel like if you bring a Spencer Dinwiddie, that then the Knicks want to have a big guard in the point guard section, like Frank Ntilikina, so to speak. And so I want to remind you, I said this before, but I kind of want to put that in the context. So that remember that R.J. Barrett and Alonzo Trier, that the Knicks like that. So I feel like R.J. Barrett is a shooting guard, small forward, that maybe Alonzo Trier can transition to a point guard. So I was like, you know what? Maybe if you have Frank Ntilikina with Spencer Dinwiddie, maybe, and Alonzo Trier has some playmaking. He's not a point guard, but maybe he can, transition to being a backup point guard. So that's the conversation that I want to bring that up another time. But it's just like I'm just going to tell you for today, just to say so I can bring it back to you another time. I call and say, hey, listen, I do like Chris Paul, but I think if you bring in Chris Paul, I expect Ntilikina out. Maybe he'll get traded for 2 second-round picks or something like that along the lanes. And maybe it might be the time to be. Maybe Frank Ntilikina is a high time to trade Ntilikina. Maybe it is also a high time, a good value to trade Mitchell Robinson. And we should be looking. If we make a trade, we should be looking to be winning in that trade. I don't want to be losing money or losing value. We want to get better players. So I don't want to hold up all your time. I mean, I could keep talking, but, I want to be fair,
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, you see, I think that, and I appreciate the call.
No, please, I listen. You want to? I like to listen to what you're saying, please.
Yeah. But, I think that the thing with Dennis Smith Jr. and Chris Paul, I don't think that there's like this crazy connection between the two players. I think it's because they come from kind of the same area. Not far from each other.
Right.
That, you know, so there was a connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dennis Smith Jr. is from Fayetteville, and then Chris Paul's from someplace in
Right.
South Carolina. I don't remember exactly where, but
Right,
probably
right. But I
not
know what
far
you're
from
getting
each other. You know what I'm saying? So I
Mhm.
think that maybe that's part of the connection there. I don't know if this like, oh yeah, we're buddies. That's my mentor. I don't think it's that. I think they probably kind of linked up that way, because I would think that you know, maybe Frank Ntilikina, Chris Paul would be more of a natural mentor to Frank Ntilikina than Dennis Smith Jr. That's just my thought process.
Can I make a quick point with that? I just want to say that, remember, in LeBron James backed up Dennis Smith Jr. I don't know, Chris Paul and Dennis Smith and LeBron have that connection. You know, they're cool, they're buddy, and LeBron James already said, hey, listen, man, they slept on Dennis Smith Jr. Now,
I mean,
I don't know, maybe I'm assuming, maybe it's a stretch.
But do you think that LeBron
like,
was serious, or he was just trying to take a jab at the Knicks, man?
I think it was serious.
I think he was just trying to take a jab at the Knicks.
I think, and I also, look, I don't want to, but I'm assuming that it wasn't even coming from LeBron James. I even think it could have been a front office plot, so to speak. I think it was a personal. Look, I never heard anybody say Frank Ntilikina is a starting point guard. At most, what people say is he's a back. Look, I don't want to diss the guy. I like the guy. He's hardworking. He's defense. He's about the team. That gets New York Knicks supporters. But people do say, I'm not going to be ignorant and say like people don't say that Frank Ntilikina at most is a backup point guard. I never heard that statement about Dennis Smith Jr. Now, I'm not saying I'm crazy about him, but I haven't even given, I don't know if New York fans even given him a chance, but he does, you know, Ntilikina gets that thing that he says he's a backup point guard at most. So my question to you now is, what is Dennis Smith Jr.? Is he a starter in this league? Because his ego seems, his bruised to be like he's mad that he's not a starting point guard in this league. And he's around with a winner like Chris Paul, who you love. So, you know, only maybe winners surround themselves around winners. I don't know. But they started to think like, you know, I want to question, should we trade in Ntilikina? Would it be a good idea if you could get shooters, would you trade Ntilikina? If you can get James Wiseman, right? Let's just say the Knicks get the number 1 pick, right? If you can have a chance to get James Wiseman, would you trade Mitchell Robinson and Ntilikina and get some shooters?
Thank you for the call, my man. Would I trade Mitchell Robinson and Frank Ntilikina? I don't know. I mean, listen, James Wiseman, I'm not sure that James Wiseman is going to be a super duper star. I don't know. Only seen him for 3 games. He may be. You know, I mean, most people think that one day Mitchell Robinson is going to be an all-star. I mean, is James Wiseman? So if you think that in a few years Mitchell Robinson is going to be an all-star, that means James Wiseman's got to be a franchise changer. Right? You know, looking at between the two players. That's in my opinion. In order for you to say, you know what, we're going to dump Mitchell Robinson so we can get James Wiseman, then you've got to have in your mind that this kid is a franchise changer. That's what I think. Right? You know, if you think that Mitchell Robinson is going to be an all-star, then James Wiseman has to be a franchise player, a franchise changer in order for you to dump Mitchell Robinson to take James Wiseman.
That's facts.
Just have not seen enough to know, is he going to be a franchise changer? 3 games.
What was that called?
Yeah, I don't know what that. I'm not giving up.
3 games.
I'm not giving up, Mitch. I'm sorry. That's out.
3 games. Melvin, what's going on, man?
Unmute yourself, boy.
I think Melvin was pissed.
Mary, can you hear?
Yeah,
Yo, Sim, I think that was Ernesto.
Hold on, let Melvin go.
You got to unmute his mic.
He just spoke.
Yeah, he just spoke.
Oh.
Yeah, what's going on, Melvin? How you been, man?
I'm here.
Wait, can you hear Sim though, Mero? You gotta hear Sim.
Nah, I can't hear Sim.
So yeah, you
can't hear me?
Unmute Sim.
Yeah, you gotta unmute me. You might have me muted.
You gotta unmute him.
How the hell do I do that?
This should be.
He's on the phone, right? If he's
Hey, look, we all been talking.
muted, you say don't have him muted, Sim?
Nah, I don't have him muted because I can hear him.
This is my first time on this joint.
This should be three dots on his.
Yeah,
on
it should
his,
be three
on the
dots
front
on my. So you see the black.
Yeah, go
the
to
black
his profile.
screen with the little.
Y'all, I don't
white
even
square?
see his joint on here.
Now you see the black screen with the white square. That's me.
He can't hear you, Sam.
Yeah, I can't even see his joint
Oh,
on here.
tell him that I am the black screen with the white square.
He's
He
the
don't see
black
my
screen,
face.
the one with the front two.
Huh?
He's the one with
He's
the
the black
screen
square with the white little box in the middle. He's that one.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
There should be three boxes right there. Click the three boxes.
All right, all it say is maximize and full screen. It don't say nothing else.
It don't say unmute?
Oh yeah, there's no whereby. I don't know what.
Nah, don't say unmute.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the whereby what they're doing, man.
Miro,
I'm at this.
Miro, try to leave and come back. Leave and come back.
All right, bet.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the whereby nowadays. They got
Sim,
they doing some stuff on there, man. I got to talk to him and find out what's going on.
Sim, I think that was Ernesto on the call. That's not
Nah, that wasn't Ernesto. That wasn't Ernesto.
Man.
Yo, that low key sounded like Ernesto. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm thinking the whole time, is that Ernesto?
Nah, that wasn't Ernesto.
Hey, Sim, can I say something, Sim?
I don't know what's going on with the whereby what they do.
Hey, come on, Ed. Come on, you doing too much. Sim, you know what makes me mad with you, Sim?
What's up?
You make me mad because you let these callers come on here talking that nonsense for 15 minutes straight, and you know it be crap, and you just let it go.
And that was straight up nonsense, man.
No, I mean, he was saying whatever he was saying. I don't know what he was saying.
Sim, you know you lied because your voice got higher. You know you lied because your voice got higher. What up, Kareem?
Sometimes I want to be like the Stephen A. show. When someone says something out of line, you just cut them off and then say your piece sometimes, because sometimes it's needed.
Hold up. You don't think I hung up on the dude? I had to hang up just so I could get going.
That was too long, bro. That was too long. That was too long.
Actually, no, it wasn't. It was like 5 minutes. It wasn't 15 minutes.
It wasn't as bad as the first call.
I can look at the time. I can look at the amount of time. So he was on hold while everybody was talking. He was on hold for about 10 minutes. Then I spoke to him. When I ended, it was 15 minutes in total, but he was on hold waiting to talk for about.
It wasn't a bad call. He just wouldn't breathe. He wouldn't breathe.
Bro, he thought Dennis Smith is a starting point guard.
Oh my God!
Hey, my man, they just messing with you. Don't be upset. They just messing with you, bro. All right, let's see if we can get Melvin back in here. We got a whole crew in here tonight. So listen, we gotta make sure we're not talking over each other, man. We got a whole crew in here. Melvin, can you hear me now?
Yo, King Ed like Safari.
I bet. Let's get to Melvin, man, because I ain't heard from Melvin in a minute. Melvin, what's going on?
Go ahead.
What up, man? What's good, y'all? I ain't see y'all in a minute.
Yeah, man. Glad you back. How you feeling, man?
I'm all right, man. Just life. A lot of moves, a lot of things going on. So I've been out the loop for a minute, but I'm back.
Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up, man. Hopefully everybody is healthy, safe and healthy.
Mark, you good, bro? You look like you've been in quarantine for a minute.
Yo, bro, man. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. I've been trying to hit my barber. I've been trying to hit my barber, and I've been trying to offer him over $200 just to cut my hair, bro.
$200?
You wildin', Mark. You wildin' right now.
I'm exaggerating, man. Like, I'm not paying $200 for no haircut. Y'all know sarcasm? Or I'm that dumb?
Mark,
Mark,
you're gonna pay him $200 to cut your hair.
I was being sarcastic.
Oh, I was about to say.
Offering him.
That's that
take everything I take literal, please, because Jesus.
That's that
not that literal. But I've been wanting to get my hair cut from like last month, bro. What can I do when nobody want to touch anybody's head?
I got you.
But my man Kareem got a fresh cut though.
Cause he
I got a cut too. My barber come to my crib.
He in the Bronx.
You say he in the Bronx?
It's different.
Nah, my barber live in Staten Island, man.
Oh, Staten Island. They secluded, so they good over there.
So check. So all right. So I got a super chat and do ask this question. I didn't hear anything about this. Tell me if you heard anything about this. He said, "Did you see that?" And thank you for the super chat, by the way. Bravo Mo 1982. He said, "Did you see that Thibodeau asked to trade the 6th pick to get a veteran player?"
Huh?
Thibodeau ain't even the coach here. What are you talking about?
Oh my God.
That's the guy y'all want, right? Thibodeau.
What kind of veteran player?
I don't know. Who knows?
Is this your king?
What?
This your king?
To get
Like-
who? To get who?
Like if that veteran player is Cat, I'm with it. Hey, what kind of veteran player?
You know it's not. You know it's not Cat. You know it's not Cat. You know that.
Yeah, but for the 6th pick, like if you get like a
Hold up. One at a time.
like
what player is he talking about? He just talking about trading.
Yeah, that's important because like if we get a younger star for the 6th pick, y'all do it. But like, are we talking like Chris?
Hey, y'all two still talking over each other.
Yo, Angie, do you have Mark muted?
Oh no, I got him muted. My bad.
You can't mute each other no more. I don't think we can mute each other no more.
Oh yeah.
bad.
No, go ahead, Mark. You got it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm just saying, like the 6th pick, we aren't wary of even picking at that pick. I'm just saying, if he's talking about trading the 6th pick, it could be for anything and anybody. He's just throwing it out there. What's wrong with that?
I don't want to coach like, again, we brought this up the last time. I don't want to.
Oh my God.
Who's going to prefer veterans or who's going to be on that veteran crap like your boy Larry Brown was with Trevor Ariza? If we get a guy at the 6th pick, even if he's if he has an upside,
Good example, by the way. Good example.
That we could develop, you keep that pick and you develop him, bro. Because we don't have a win now team. The only time you really go for veterans, unless it's a maligned veteran where it's like, yo, this dude is talented, but whatever nonsense they got on this team is just not working. You bring him over there, they could be a star. You know what I mean? Unless you're getting Chris Webber, I would rather whatever we can get.
And what player?
Versus try to get a veteran.
Do y'all remember? Do y'all remember? Just remember a couple years ago that the 7th pick got Jimmy Butler.
Nah,
just remember that.
So
the 7th pick got Jimmy Butler.
All right, so we wouldn't trade a 6th pick for anybody. We wouldn't trade a 6th pick for anybody. Is what you're saying?
Clearly you would.
I wouldn't. At all.
I would trade the 6 picks for certain players.
Man, that's what I'm saying. You don't know who the vet is.
What players are we talking about? Like a Jimmy? Are we talking about a Jimmy Butler type of player? Okay. Are we talking about? Are we talking about a Cat? Because Cat not gonna get you a 6th pick.
Vet is vague though. Vet is really vague. You can't really give an answer to that unless you know who the vet is.
Let me ask you a question though, Isaiah. Tell me who we getting at the 6th pick right now that's better than Cat.
No, Sim, I'm saying you're not gonna get Cat for a 6th pick though.
But he's a vet.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Never mind.
I'm saying you're not. Of course, if they're saying we can get Cat for the 6th pick, of course you do that. But we're not getting a Cat type player with the 6th pick. I'm saying Jimmy Butler got traded for a 7th pick, and that's Jimmy Butler level of talent. So what are we getting for 6? Nothing like that.
The only person I got in
we don't know though. It depends on if it's packaged with something.
Right, that's true. It could be packaged with something.
Never know. Like I would give up the 6th pick for Beal. I would love Bradley Beal over here.
How old is Bradley Beal again?
He's going to Brooklyn. They say he's about to get traded to.
How old is Bradley Beal again?
26. Like 26.
Young, bro.
Okay, if it's Bradley Beal, I could do that. I'll do that.
But with this coach, with the coach stuff, everybody talking about. People got to realize that Thibodeau and the other dude from the Nets, whoever we hire, that's going to kind of let you know which way we going. So if they talk about
that's very true. That's very true.
We can forget about these draft picks and the young players and all of that. If they hire Tibbs, I think they're going to try to create a playoff team. If they go with Atkinson,
that's what we're
going with the young team.
I think that's already been decided when we hired Leon Rose. Leon Rose is coming for his connections.
And that's what Leon.
Why would you hire guys like Perrin and Nannon, who are Perrin is more of a developmental guy with the Jazz, where that team with the Jazz, I mean, no one wants to go to Utah unless you're getting paid out the wazoo.
But that's just what they.
Why would you hire
just what they focused on though?
Team if you're not looking for superstars?
Mark
made a good point. I'll give it to Mark.
One at a time, guys. One at a time.
Okay, hold on. So Mark did say that one thing the Knicks could be doing is that you build up that team slowly. And then you strike while the iron is hot with a big free agent, which the Knicks could be doing. So that could be. But starting out in the first year, I don't see us trading to try to get a guy because, who's going to take us to you make it almost like it's a watered down mellow trade where you trade a bunch of assets just to possibly sneak into the 8th seed in the East. Doesn't make sense.
It hasn't been working. Let's just keep. Go ahead, Kevin.
No, what I was going to say was we got to build some credibility first before we can talk about getting these trading for these star players and everything. We got to build some
exactly.
You don't need credibility for a trade.
Yo, guys, I think there's two players. I think Leon Rose would trade if they're on the block right now. There's two players I think Leon Rose would trade.
Yo, Mark, turn your mic up a little bit. It's hard to hear you.
It's hard to hear you.
I said I think there's two players that if they're on the trading block now, I think they would trade. I think it's Devin Booker, and I think the second one, if Philly said Embiid is on the thing, I think that he would get traded.
I would do that.
Okay, all right. Now you're talking.
That's better.
I just don't think Leon Rose came here for a 3-4 year rebuild. I think 1 or 2 years they're gonna stockpile assets, and I think he's gonna try to strike. He wasn't born here for a 3 or 4 year rebuild.
It's not even. It's not even that.
All right, so I have to ask this, and King, I want you to answer this. With that thinking, is that the easy way? Is that the easy way? Because we've been trying to do that for years, and look where it got us.
But no, I think Knicks fans kind of got PTSD. I think there's more than one way to do it. I just think if you're gonna do it that way, you got to do it the right way. You got to get the right guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's any worse. I think you just got to get the right guy.
Okay, how do you feel about that, Sim? No, would you do Embiid or Booker for the 6th pick?
I would do that so fast.
I would. For the 6th pick, definitely. I mean, of course, you gotta say to yourself, do we want to pay this player? But if you talk about Devin Booker or Joel Embiid
or Lillard,
Joel Embiid's got some injury issues, but Devin Booker,
Devin Booker is legit. He's
definitely.
25. He's 25.
You know what I'm saying?
22.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you talking about Devin Booker to pair him with RJ, and then you start from there, and then those two players will add credibility to us, and then that's when we can add players because
see if I had a choice between Bill and Booker, I would go Bill.
No, I'm taking Booker.
Booker's a better scorer. I would go Bill.
I think I would.
I'm
going Booker.
It's tough, but I like Bill too. I'm a Bill fan. You guys, I've been talking about Bill for a while. I'm a Bill fan.
Sim, I like Bill, but Booker from a scorer standpoint,
that's all he got on Bill.
Bill does more though. Bill does more.
No, hold on, Morale. Booker, if you look this year, he improved defensively playing with that coach from New Orleans. What's his name again?
Monty
Williams.
And he also did better with what's the boy Rubio. But Bill doesn't. Bill, this is why it's so hard, because Bill has been on a crappy team for years. But the thing about it is that when you look at Bill, I think that Bill's game, because again, Booker, and this could just because he was on that team that was just so terrible. He's trying to be a point guard who's a
Booker only 22.
I think Bill as a shooting guard. I think Bill is a better fit for the Knicks. Booker, unless you have a strong system like how they have, where you have a point guard who can facilitate the ball, and you can use Booker more as a chess piece versus as a guy facilitating, bringing the ball.
There you go, Gamble.
But the thing about Bill, though, I think that Bill, he's more of a guy where you don't need the system. Not saying you don't need a system, but he's more of he can excel outside of a system. Now, is he a heavy usage guy? I mean, I think they both are, and Bill's definitely a heavy usage guy. And his efficiency, especially from three, isn't the greatest. His field goal percentage is only 45%, which is, I think, good. It's good.
He's
good. It's good. But Bill, I think Bill is just a little bit more dynamic than.
No, it's simple to me. I think Bill has reached his ceiling. I think Booker's gonna still get better. That's simple.
Yeah, exactly.
That's hard to say. We're looking at Booker in a system. Again, if he comes to the Knicks where we don't have that, unless we get a strong coach.
Gamble, even before that, the year prior to them getting that coach, he was the only player in the league that got double teamed the most, even more double teamed than James Harden. That's when they put him into the point guard role. But I'm talking about him from a skill set to be 22 years old and to be averaging over 20 points since he started. He needs to get a coach that can hone that in. And plus, he needed players to surround him, because Phoenix did a horrible job.
I agree.
They just kept taking young player after
Phoenix
young
sucks.
player.
When you look at both these guys, this is what you have to start doing, right? Context, right? When you say somebody has 20 points a night, right? Again, I could go back to Reggie Theus. I could go to Mahmoud Abdul Rahim. I could go back to Corey Maggette. A bunch of guys who averaged 20 points even when they were young, and it went nowhere. So when I look at a young guy, I look at guys who can win, who kind of carry the team on their back, and they're because of maybe both sides of the game, or one side is just that dynamic where they carry. So when I look at a guy like Devin Booker, as nice as a 20 points a game, whatever,
He's 25. He's
a talented guy, but again, he had heavy usage as a guy taking up the ball. Don't get me wrong. Devin Booker can ball. Is he a guy that by himself, he's just going to carry a team and you guys will win 40 games?
Nobody's doing it by themselves. Nobody's doing it by themselves.
But when we evaluate these players, because we say, yo, this dude was averaging 20-some points a game. Yo, he's mad nice. Well, it's like, all right, he's mad nice, but there's context, right? Heavy usage.
But he's shooting 50% from the field. He shoots 50% from the field.
Yo,
you can't throw that away.
We gotta go one at a time, fellas. One at a time.
Let me ask something real quick.
Are they winning? We can talk about 50. I'm not saying Booker's not nice. They're both nice. Are they winning? It's the same thing with Bill.
There's no one person going to win, Gilmore. We know that. Come on, man. No one person is going to win.
He got that good, Michael.
You got to discount how much you say these guys are nice, because if these guys are so nice, even with Devin Booker, right? Okay, you can say that they didn't have Ruby, they didn't have Monty Williams.
He's in our timeline.
I'm not saying that.
That's important, Mark. That is important.
What's that again?
He's in our timeline.
No, Mark said he's on our timeline.
He's in our timeline to be.
But listen, let me ask you something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Y'all said before that y'all feel that RJ is one of the main people on our team.
Right? He is the guy right now. He is the guy right now.
All right, now with these two players we talking about, because we talking about them individually.
Yeah.
Who do you think fits better, though, honestly, with RJ? When you think about those,
see, I think Bill.
Perfectly.
It might be
RJ. I think Booker.
It might be Devin Booker.
I don't think Booker.
You don't want Devin Booker holding. You don't want him facilitating the ball. If you have
Bill, can catch and shoot, bro.
You have Bill and RJ playing.
I think Bill would help
a true point guard facilitate to those guys. Remember
I think Bill would help RJ more than Booker would help RJ.
Thank you.
But by the time RJ's ready to rim, Bill was like 32.
But hold on. I'm gonna tell you how Devin Booker. I know how he could play off guys because he played for Kentucky when he was playing with Cat. I think was it Anthony Davis here or Cat?
It was Cat. It was Cat.
He was playing off of them. He has the ability to come off. He could play.
Yeah, but he was playing. Hold on. That was a different position than RJ.
We're talking about his usage, his on-ball usage.
His usage.
And he was coming off the bench.
His usage was so low, bro. His usage was so low playing for Kentucky, bro.
And he was still effective.
And the thing is, it's not even that. His skill set, he can play off RJ, and you want him to play off RJ because that will make him get more easier shots because he's the best shooter. And then you can utilize RJ for what he can do with the ball in his hands for him to make good passes. Okay? Because with Bradley Beal,
these players are not going to go back to low usage like what they had in college, bro. They're not going to go back to low usage unless they're in a winning environment where they're going to a bona fide playoff team. Like, yo, we are going to go to a championship, but we just got to push down your
If you get Booker, RJ automatically becomes the second option. He's not a first option over the Booker.
You put RJ the 3. You got to put RJ the 3, Booker at the 2.
I don't care where you put him, but the first option is going to be Booker.
And those two could be able to play the perimeter defensively. Oh no, like that's what you do because Bradley Beal can't get stuck.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna let them guys continue to have their conversation back there. All right, they're gonna have their conversation. I'm gonna head out. All right, because I've been on for about 2 hours now. Actually, I've been on for about 4 hours. So I'm gonna let them guys go ahead and finish their conversation, and I'm gonna head out. I will catch you guys later. I can't wait until something happens with the New York Knicks so we can really have some things to talk about, so we can have some beef to talk about. Right now, we don't have a lot of beef to talk about. It's just kind of, we're trying to find things to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So look, I'm going to get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys taking the time. I'm going to find out what's up with this whereby, I don't know, they made changes and now they switched everything up. Nobody knows how to handle and do stuff with it. Might have to switch to a new platform. You might see a new platform up there. But anyway, I appreciate you guys, man. Be easy, be safe, and I will talk to you really, really soon. soon as we find out some stuff going on. Next week, I'm gonna be back doing the draft pick stuff and all of that. And I still have that classic Knicks that I didn't do, the 94-99 NBA Finals. I was supposed to do it, I didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Check out for the schedule next week. Be peaceful. I'm out.